She hands it off to Jackson. Jackson uses the screen, lost the handle, bounce pass to Plum. Plum loses it, regains it, throws it up for grabs. Grabbed by Boston out of the sky, and we're going to have a foul here. No, a timeout taken by Indiana.
What I love the most about this squad is that, just like O said, like we instill confidence, the coach instills confidence that any shot you take, shoot it with confidence because we trust you and we trust that you're going to make it. And I feel like that's just really helped us down the line because no matter who comes in, no matter who steps up, we're all just really happy for each other.
After the game, Aliyah Boston said something that instantly had every Indiana Fever fan talking. But she didn't just say it, she backed it up on the floor. In a season where the Fever have been beaten down by injuries, Boston rose to the occasion with 22 points, 11 rebounds, and a career-best 6 steals, finishing it all off with the game-sealing stop. Her words weren't just post-game chatter, they carried meaning. And understanding them helps explain how Indiana managed to pull off their most crucial victory of the year. Even with players sidelined and momentum wavering, one unlikely hero emerged to light the spark that slammed the door on Los Angeles. Let's break down exactly how this win changed everything for Indiana's season. If you're hyped for the Fever, then drop a comment. Big Fever win. Let's go Fever. Hell yeah. So how do you win when nearly half your roster is dressed in street clothes? That was the daunting question hanging over Indiana as they stepped into Los Angeles. Caitlin Clark was unavailable. Sophie Cunningham couldn't play. Sydney Colson and Ari McDonald were also sidelined. 4 guards gone for playmakers, 4 voices missing from the rotation. For most teams, that type of situation is a death sentence, especially in a game with major playoff implications. But the Fever didn't have the luxury of surrendering. They came into the matchup with nothing to lean on but toughness and belief in the players still standing. As Boston explained, it was about more than injuries, it was about resilience. And the character of the women on the team, she highlighted how both the core players who have endured the grind of the season and the newer additions like Kelsey Che, Christy Wallace, Che, and Aliyah Petty, AP, embody a culture of caring about winning, caring about each other, and sacrificing every day to compete. This wasn't just about who was missing, either. The game against the Sparks carried deeper significance. Los Angeles had beaten Indiana every time they met this season, 3 games. 3 losses, each one more frustrating than the last. And the standings made the stakes even heavier. The Fever sat in 6th place, clinging to a playoff spot, while the Sparks hovered just 2 games back in 9th. A loss could have tightened that gap instantly. On top of that, Indiana had dropped 4 of their last 5 games. So doubt was creeping into every conversation. The narrative had already begun to form, were the Fever collapsing at the worst possible moment. Then came a reminder of how much toughness matters. During postgame, someone pointed out how head coach Christy Sides mentioned that every time she sees Lexie Hull's 2 black eyes, she smiles because they embody the team's toughness. Asked if she herself felt tough while playing through it, Hull laughed it off. She admitted that people kept apologizing when they saw her bruises, but she didn't feel sorry for herself. In her words, this is what it is. On the court, she forgot about them. It was only when she looked in the mirror that she was reminded they were still there. And yes, she reassured, her vision was perfectly fine. The challenge was enormous. From the outside, this Fever squad looked fragile. 5 games left in the season, and now forced to stitch together lineups with whoever was available. At this point, it wasn't about finding flow or perfection. It was about survival, winning every possession, no matter how it looked. That survival-first mentality became their blueprint. Anyone who got minutes had to go beyond their usual role. Every player stepping onto the floor had to carry a heavier load than what the box score usually asked of them. Hull explained how it all started with what she thought was just a swollen bump on her forehead after colliding with Gabby Williams. In the previous game, she treated it overnight, only to wake up with 2 full black eyes. It wasn't something she could hide anymore, though she credited the Fever's makeup artist for covering them up so well that people who hadn't met her before didn't even notice. Ultimately, she shrugged it off, joking that maybe the broadcast editors could clean it up afterward. But the truth was clear. Her willingness to keep competing with those marks symbolized exactly what Indiana needed: players showing up, even when it hurt. When asked about the immediate aftermath of that collision, Hull admitted she was relieved it wasn't worse. She didn't suffer a concussion or facial fracture, and she felt completely with it right away. Doctors ran the necessary tests, applied ice, and cleared her. She also acknowledged the flood of online concern, thanking people for checking in but assuring them that she really was okay. That's what made this game feel so different. It wasn't about flashy highlights or style points. Every rebound, every steal, every basket was tied to urgency. One wrong scoring run by Los Angeles could have swung everything, but the Fever never folded. They dug in, matched intensity, and answered the Sparks' push with resilience. As Sides put it, the game was far from pretty, but it was about digging in, about making the big defensive stops, about grabbing crucial offensive boards like Boston did late. and about turning deflections into steals and momentum. By refusing to break, Indiana created space for someone unexpected to rise into the spotlight. The shorthanded roster had left them vulnerable, but it also opened the door for a veteran presence to step up when it mattered most. And that's exactly what Odyssey Sims did. On a night when Indiana was simply trying to survive, a 31 guard who didn't even start became the heartbeat of the game. For Sims, it wasn't just about the moment, it was about the jersey on the other side. She once played for the Sparks, and facing her former team added a layer of fuel to every possession. You could see it in her energy. This was personal. She hit threes when left open. She drove to the basket for runners. She pushed the pace in transition and finished with lefty layups. At this stage of her career, most don't expect a backup guard to carry an offense. Scouting reports don't circle her name the way they do Boston or Clark. And yet, on this night, when Kelsey Mitchell struggled to find rhythm, just 5 makes on 14 attempts, Sims became the answer. She was decisive, calm, and aggressive without hesitation, treating each possession like she'd been preparing for it her whole life. Her 21 points told only part of the story. What really mattered was timing. She delivered baskets exactly when Indiana needed them most, whether it was pushing tempo to kill LA's momentum or slowing things down to steady her team. Deep in the fourth quarter, the ball kept finding her hands, and she kept creating drives through traffic, mid-range pull-ups, off-the-dribble looks. These weren't secondary touches. She became the primary closer. The defining moment came with just 13.6 seconds remaining. Indiana clung to a slim chance, and the ball was in Sims' hands. Rising into the floater she's trusted her entire career, she let it fly. The shot dropped clean. That was the dagger, the basket that gave Indiana the lead for good and hushed the Staples Center crowd. You could almost see the weight lift off the Fever as Sims ran calmly back down the floor. Face steady, body language saying she knew all along this was her moment. Afterward, asked about her mindset in those final seconds, Sims admitted her shooting from deep had been shaky before hitting that late three, but she never lost confidence, thanks to constant encouragement from teammates and coaches. They weren't worried about my missed shots, she said. They told me to keep playing. When the ball found her, she was open, and it became a Duarte situation. The shot went down, and though she was excited, she emphasized the bigger picture. Indiana got the win, and that was what mattered. Later in interviews, Sims summed up her philosophy in one line: if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. That wasn't just a saying, it was the perfect description of Indiana's night. No excuses, no panic. Just readiness for the unexpected. For Sims personally, it carried even more meaning. She spoke about her journey in recent years, up and down between contracts, being cut, fighting through hardship deals. To her, this game proved what she already knew. She is the human definition of staying ready. Every opportunity matters, and she refuses to let one slip. In her own words, you never know what tomorrow brings. You can be on a team one day, gone the next, so I come in, stay ready, and let my energy flow to my teammates. And she wasn't alone. Standing beside her in this fight was Indiana's anchor, Aliyah Boston, the cornerstone of the team's identity. She not only put together a dominant performance, but also delivered the post-game message that still has Fever fans buzzing.